Okay, we are going to start Unit 2 by kind of reviewing some of the constructors that we have already learned how to use. Our first constructor that we learned how to use was Jeroos Bob equals new Jeroos. And that line tells us that our Jeroos is going to be located at 0, 0. He's going to be facing east. The second type of constructor that we learned was Jeroos Bob equals new Jeroos row column. And the row column, we remember that, and if you look over here at the island, that our row and our columns start at 0, 0. And then, as we move across our columns, we'll grow until 23, and our rows will grow from 0 to 23. So this line is telling us that our Jeroos is located at 3, 2, and that he is facing to the right, which is east. So now we're going to look at a third constructor. And our third constructor is going to use direction, north, south, east, and west. And anytime we use a direction within our parentheses or where we place our parameters, we always make sure that it's in all caps. So if we were to say Jeroos Bob equals new Jeroos 0, 0 south, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this so that we can look at the different directions that our Jeroos can be in. I'm going to say method main parentheses, add my brackets, put some space in here, and I'm going to put our Jeroos. And we don't have to put anything else in here. So if we use our first Jeroos that we talked about, or our first constructor, and I run this, and I'm just going to say this is temp, replace it, and I run this, then here is my first Jeroos. He's located at 0, 0. Okay, that's where my cursor is located, is 0, 0, and he is facing to the east. If I change this, I'm going to hit stop, rewind, change it to 3, 2, run it again. Now our Jeroos is located at 3, 2, and he is facing to the right, which is east. Now I'm going to take this constructor right here that we just talked about, Jeroos Bob equals new Jeroos 0, 0 south, and I'm going to place that on the screen, and I'm going to run it again. And now our Jeroos is pointing down, and if we look down here we can see he's pointing down, he has no flowers, and that's where he's at, is at 0, 0. Alright, so let's go ahead and copy this one. This says that we're going to create Bob at 6, 5, and he's going to be facing west. So we're going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in. Run it again. And so now he's at 6, 5, and he's facing towards the left, which is west. Now, if you were to try and just give him a direction, since our default doesn't have anything in the parentheses and it automatically goes to 0, 0, you would think that you could say Jeroos Bob equals south without giving him a row or column, but you can't. Okay, so this is not a legal Jeroos. So I'm going to paste it in here so we can see how it's going to look. If you were to do this and you ran it, you're going to get a message that says syntax error, missing right or left or extra left parentheses. Check the previous line. Well, that's just telling us that there is something wrong with this line right here. So that means that we cannot give him just a direction without giving him a row and a column. Alright, so let's do some experimenting. We are going to open Jeroos, and we're going to copy this code. I'm going to paste this in. Now I have already saved this as temp, so for you all you would need to do is just run it, put the code in and do a file save as and save as temp. So now we're going to see Jeroos Bob equals new Jeroos 0, 0 south. He's going to hop, and when we end he's going to hop 4 times, and there he is. Okay, so now if I was to change it to Jeroos Bob 6, 5 west, I'm going to rewind, paste it in, run it again. Uh-oh, what's wrong? Missing right or left parentheses, Jeroos Bob equals new Jeroos. Missing the comma. Sorry about that. Run it again. So he started over here. He's facing west. When he starts hopping, he hops towards the left side of the screen. Alright, so now let's look to see if we can have more than one Jeroo on the screen. So we're going to copy this and we're going to paste both of these in here. Control V, rewind it, run it, and now we get an error. It says syntax error, duplicate identifier Bob for a Jeroo or method. So we cannot use the same name twice. Okay, we can't do that. So let's change this, or let's see if we put them in a different location, if that works. So we're going to say 2, 2, run it again, and we get the same error. So doesn't matter if we try to start Bob in 2 different locations, we can't have 2 Bobs. So let's change Bob to Sue. And let's run it. And so now we have 2. We have Bob, which is going to be the blue arrow, and we have Sue, which is the red arrow. All right, so let's scroll down a little bit more. And let's add some code. We're going to add this code. We're going to do it after these hops. So now first Bob's going to hop and then Sue's going to hop. So let's rewind it, run it, and notice that Sue moves, then Bob moves. Sue moves, then Bob moves. This is called single movement. Okay, they're not going at the same time. They are, one's moving, then the other's moving. All right, so now let's see if we can add another Jeroo to our window. Let's copy this code right here. We're going to take Tom and Kim and see if we can add them to our window. So now I've got them all starting in different locations. We're going to just go ahead and click through. And look, now I get 4. Let's pause. Now I get 4 different Jeroos. I have Bob, which is blue arrow. Sue, which is the red arrow. It looks like Tom is the pink arrow, and Kim is the green arrow. So we can have 4 Jeroos on our island. Let's see if we can add a 5th one. So let's copy this code. I'm going to paste it in. We're going to run this one more time. And now we have a syntax error that's saying too many Jeroo instances. So that tells us the most we can have on our screen is 4 Jeroos at any time. All right, so let's go down here. And now what I want you to do is copy this code. Notice it says Sue.hop, Bob.hop, Sue.hop, Bob.hop. So we're going to copy this. And we can just go ahead and delete out everything that's in here. Paste in the new code, and we're going to run this, and notice that Bob and Sue are hopping at the same time. They're hopping one, then the other, one, then the other. This is called simultaneous action. Both of them are moving at the same time. So let's review. We can have 4 Jeroos on our island, and that's it. If we move one Jeroo and wait and move a second Jeroo, that's called single movement. If we move them where one will hop, then the second one will hop, that's called simultaneous movement. And we now have 4 constructors. I'm sorry, do we have 4? Let's go back and look one more time. We have 1, 2, 3 constructors that we can use. We can use just our default constructor. We can give it a row and a column, and then we can give it a row, column, and a direction.